color. The continuing story of Peyton Place. Starring Ed Nelson as Michael Rossi, Ryan O'Neal as Rodney Harrington, Barbara Parkins as Betty Anderson, Christopher Connelly as Norman Harrington, Patricia Morrow as Rita Harrington, James Douglas as Stephen Cord.
Tonight, the Reverend Tom Winter angrily left his house at the height of an argument with Jill Smith. Jill has refused to accept his explanations of his recent behavior toward her. To Jill, his reaching out for her, his stares, all add up to a man's feelings for a woman. Tom denied this, and denied it, until the denial itself became an admission. Now, somehow, Tom must deal with the truth, and of the state of his marriage to Susan Winter.
It's a lovely evening, and the Lord's in his heaven.
And all's right with the world.
I didn't have to tell you that. It's only an old fool like me that needs reminded. Oh, I just wanted to say to you, I spent an hour with Norman and Rita Harrington. That marriage of theirs, it's coming along real fine again.
Glad to hear it.
I'd hate to think of what might have happened to it without your help.
Eli, don't give me too much credit.
I know what you're thinking. You have a wonderful awareness of the presence of the Lord. An awareness that the rest of us don't have. For us, it's kind of like the sun. We know it's there, we take it for granted, we don't think much about it. And without it, we'd be in darkness. How's that for a sermon, Reverend? Oh, about the Harrington kids, I just want to say again, that was a wonderful day's work you did when you helped to save their marriage.
There was one to save. Good night, Eli.
Good night.
Jill, I have to talk to you.
Mr. Winter, you had a right to blow up.
Did I?
You're a human being.
Let's call it an understandable misunderstanding. Let's call it that and leave it at that, huh?
Fair enough.
Okay.
Look, Mr. Winter, I don't want to put a strain on your marriage.
Now, you mustn't blame yourself.
You're upset, Mrs. Winter's upset. I can't believe it has nothing to do with my being here.
You have to believe that, Jill. The strains on my marriage, the problems, they were all there before you came walking very innocently, right in the middle of them. They say I'm a human being. And, well, I can be very calm and objective about somebody else's problems, but I'm just as muddled and confused as anybody in finding the answers to my own.
It'd be better if I left. At least you and Mrs. Winter would have the privacy to work things out.
You'd probably lose custody of your baby. And, Jill, you've got to learn to think of yourself and Kelly. And whether you leave or stay, it mustn't be on my account.
Yes.
Mr. Cord is here.
Oh, send him right in. Stephen, thanks for coming.
You sounded as if you were going down for the third time.
Drowning in a sea of chaos. Unbelievable. These are Peyton's records, if you can call them that. I found them scattered all over his suite at the clinic.
Well, you can add these to your collection.
Oh, no. You know, my father negotiated the sale of the Peyton mill. But Peyton waited until after he went on vacation to announce that he signed the final papers.
Who are the new owners?
Haha, Stephen, you've worked for Peyton. You know how he operates. I'm just a file clerk with a big title.
Well, at least you still have a title. The sooner I get these organized, the sooner I lose my biggest client. How is he? All right, let's get at it.
These are the ones I can't even decipher, let alone understand. He has his own kind of shorthand.
The better to confuse us all.
Yeah, I wish he had learned to use a recorder or at least taken a course in penmanship.
Mill accounting, tax file.
Drapes, special order, $2,000. Approved, Martin Peyton. What do I file that under?
Personal.
You mean Martin Peyton gave somebody $2,000 worth of drapes?
No, more or less. When my ex-wife and I moved into his house. So delinquent accounts, equipment rental.
Who's Eddie Jacks?
What?
I don't even think this one belongs here. I promised to pay Eddie Jacks $50,000 for services to be rendered. Signed, Leslie Harrington.
May I?
Oh, it's sloppy. The whole thing's just sloppy. What company did Eddie Jacks work for? What services? Was he paid or wasn't he?
You want an educated guess?
Well, if that would satisfy the new owners.
Well, whatever it was shady. Eddie Jacks was a con man. Small time, but dedicated. He and Harrington were in-laws. His daughter married Norman.
But how did Martin Peyton get involved?
Oh, you know how they felt about each other? Harrington probably tried to pull a fast one at Peyton's expense. Peyton found out about it and covered it up.
Well, how am I going to explain that?
Well, you don't. Unless you want to run the risk of hanging the old man's dirty wash in the middle of the town square.
It doesn't make sense.
Doesn't have to. Not to us. We're just file clerks, remember? So just file it under personal and forget you saw it. Come on, we can wrap this up in an hour. Think you're through?
Oh, Stephen, a whole morning's work.
Bill, I'm sorry. And when you're finished, I'll buy you lunch. You've earned it.
Yes, I have.
How did you write a blue book and a half on one question?
By putting down every fact you stuffed into my head. And my folks are going to be very happy with the B+ I'm going to pull in music appreciation. Or maybe even an A- if a certain chick helps me keep up with my homework. I'll try to make it worth your while.
Hey, Joey.
Charlie. My order ready yet?
Yeah, I'll get it for you.
It's a muscle boy from the shoreline. You been giving you any more trouble?
Anything else with it?
Nothing but your friendly smile.
Hi, kids.
I don't buy it, that creep not giving you any more trouble. You're not acting like it.
He's not a creep. He's just
Likes to push girls around on the dance floor. Joe what?
Rossi, Joe Rossi.
Oh, yeah, the doctor's brother.
He doesn't like to push people around. He wanted to dance, and I didn't. And so everyone got the wrong idea.
Everyone or just me?
Can we talk about something else?
That phone call you got yesterday while we were at your house studying. It was just Joe, wasn't it?
No.
You said it was just somebody, just a friend. What did Joe want?
I don't really think it's any of your business.
Not even if you were using me to get back at your boyfriend? Did it work?
Did what work?
You're using me to put him on. Pretty cool. You had me figuring you needed rescuing. And Muscle Boy there seeing me for the competition? Oh, yeah.
That's double cool.
That's double wrong. I don't have anything going with Joe Rossi.
Or me either. I don't know what I'm getting so worked up about. If you like his kind, groovy. But next time you two have a quarrel, count me out, okay? If you want me to drop you home, come on. I gotta pick up the boys at rehearsal.
Jeff, that phone call was from my father, and I didn't want my mother to know.
Why'd you let me go on like that?
Dr. Rossi. How are you?
Well, I'm afraid I'm in a bind. I see the dining room's packed in there, and my usual efficiency, I forgot to make a reservation.
I got a log jam myself.
Yeah, I can see.
Let me see what I can do.
Yeah, please. I don't think the lady's here yet, anyway.
You want something to help you wait?
A cup of coffee.
Right. You might try yelling fire.
Yeah, with my luck, I'd get stampeded or something.
Excuse me. It wasn't very polite, my staring like that. I apologize.
That's right. I'm sorry. Do we know each other?
Indirectly. I'm Fred Russell.
Oh, I'm...
You're Mike Rossi.
Yes.
I was with Marsha when you called yesterday, and Carolyn's mentioned your name. So when I heard the bartender just now,
Well, I'd offer for you to sit down, but I don't think there's
Well, I came over, really. I'm not even sure it's protocol.
I wouldn't worry about that.
Are you having lunch with Marsha?
Yes?
It's none of my business anymore, but,
Doesn't bother you?
but I care for her very much. I think that's only natural.
I don't think it's very natural for us to be discussing that, Mr. Russell. I mean, I just don't see the point of discussing what your feelings are towards Mrs. Russell.
Well, then let's discuss yours.
What did you say?
I'm not trying to interfere.
Well, that's reassuring.
I'm just concerned.
You know, Mr. Russell, somehow I get the feeling that at any moment you're going to ask me what time I intend to bring Marsha home from the high school prom or something.
Is this a casual thing, or are you too serious?
Well, as you said, I don't think this is any of your business anymore.
But Carolyn is my business. I guess that's why I've really elbowed my way in here.
What does she have to do with it?
Mr. Russell? Your table's ready.
In a minute, thank you. Now that I'll be moving to Boston permanently, I won't be with her as much as I have been. I won't be available for those spur-of-the-moment talks or those monumental disasters. You know how teenagers are. Everything has a way of turning into a crisis. From the shade of lipstick they wear to the college they're going to attend.
Well, Boston isn't really that far, is it?
Well, it's an eternity for Carolyn if it takes more than 5 minutes to get to.
She has her mother?
It's not enough. She needs another base to touch.
What, are you just turning her over to me, then? Is that it?
Well, you and Marsha
are friends.
You're the only man she's seeing. She told me that.
Did she also tell you that Carolyn resents me very much?
She'll outgrow that.
Mr. Russell, I'm not just going to throw myself into Carolyn's life just to ease your conscience.
All I'm asking is that you take an interest in her.
All right, Carolyn needs a father. I agree. But she has one. It seems to be the only one she wants right now. Excuse me.
Mike, I'm sorry I'm late.
No, it's all right. I was kind of late myself, as a matter of fact.
Fred?
Marsha, I'm on my way out. Draper, I won't be needing my table. Why don't you give it to Dr. Rossi?
Sure thing.
Well, nice meeting you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Marsha, I hope you enjoy your lunch.
Thank you. Were you hungry?
Hmm?